This number is not meant to be insanely impressive, all right? I'll admit that. But I wanted to do a boss guide for Atakavaka now that we have the new reset, because they changed up the rules a little bit, and I've had people ask about this. So this is my new record that actually beat my Yui team on my first attempt, and this is a budget team. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through two teams. I'm going to go through what I think is close to, if not actually just the ideal team. Then we will go through a budget team, assuming that you do not have Yui, do not have Marion. And then I will kind of walk you through it, and I will show you an example of the fight. However, we're going to go on a lower difficulty purely for the sake of time, because the budget team is not a speedrun team, all right? It's not very fast, but it's still pretty decent, okay? So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So before we actually talk about the teams, let's actually talk about what the fight is. That way we can understand what teams to use, or why we're using the units we're using. So when we're looking at this guy, what does he actually do? The most important thing here is the mark system. So when you hit this guy with any attack, he will get a mark of the corresponding element. Physical counts in this case. So if you hit him with a physical attack, a lightning attack, whatever, he will get a physical or a lightning mark. When he gets up to 3 of those marks, he's going to remove them, and he's going to summon an add. When you kill that add, you are going to improve your party's damage of that element. So what this all means, and he can only summon 2 of these adds. So really what this boils down to is you want mono teams. You don't want to be hitting him with ice, electricity, and then fire, and then have a guy summon that's like a fire element. You boost the fire, but only 1/3 of your team is getting the fire benefit, right? So you want to be trying to either going all in on one character or one in on all element. Where normally I would actually recommend, I think the best would be fire. However, this guy has a built-in fire resistance. Also, the curse resistance isn't as good, but also physical, he has a lot. But let's take a look at this example, right? So we're just going to attack him physically, right? He gets a mark up here, mark physical. We're going to attack him physically, mark physical. And then we're going to hit him 3rd time. 3 marks, he removes the marks, he summons the add. So this is the main thing. And then when we defeat this add, all of our physical damage will go up for the rest of the fight, and you can get this up to 2 times. So ideally, right, with the lightning weakness, you're going to want to hit him with lightning 3 times. Then he's going to summon the add. You're going to kill the add, get your lightning damage up, and do that cycle twice. That way you have 2 stacks of permanent lightning up. Now, another really important thing about this fight, as opposed to last week, is this fight has no time limit on it. I mean, it does, but it's 120 turns. Last week, it was he did 5 attacks, then you had to survive them while dealing damage. This, it doesn't matter when you beat him. The timer doesn't start until after you clear the fight. Then you've got 3 turns to go all in. So obviously, if you can clear him in the first turn, it means you're going to do a lot of damage for the 3 extra turns. But this does mean that it could, even though you might be able to clear him way slower on a harder difficulty, if you're able to survive and just get to the end, like on Nightmare mode, you should be able to get more points because you're able to get the multiplier of the ×8 or something like that, right? So you don't need to clear this fight fast. But so those are the main mechanics. If we take a look here, also you can hit escape to look at the mechanics. Party's electric damage is up 20%. Assassin allies do 20% more damage. And this is actually very important. Okay, increase party's resonance damage 50%. I mean, this is Yui, right? Obviously. But this part is very important. Allies will not deal critical hits. You do increase damage based on your critical hit rate and critical damage, but this is going to be very important when we talk about the personas that we're using. So don't worry. You could buff critical hit rate and stuff, but this is a relevant part of this. So this is basically how the fight will go. He will attack, just survive the turns. Every now and then he does a single target nuke. I haven't died to it, but if you do die to it, maybe just bring more healing. But yeah, then you hit him with 3 of an element, you kill this, you boost that element, you hit him with 3 of an element, you kill him, you boost the element, then you just focus on killing this guy. That is how the fight goes. We will do an example fight at the end using my budget team, but I just wanted to lay the groundwork before we actually get into the units and why they are going to be good. So let's take a look here. Bada bing, bada boom. This is going to be what I consider essentially an optimal team. For a couple reasons. One, the add that he summons is weak to wind, and he's weak to light. No matter how he summons them, no matter what mark it has, it's always weak to wind and light. So Marion is very good here. Also, the whole point is to kind of just survive the fight, because he could hit pretty hard for a long amount of time, you know, because it could be a long fight. Marion will just keep you alive. She's very good in general. Marion might not be literally optimal. I wouldn't use Rin or Joker this week because they are going to be in the second fight. So I would say her spot is flexible, but you know, you might want to use Morgana. I think Morgana is very good with Yui, but I think Marion is just like kind of nuts as well. So Motoha here is basically, you know, not even like Yui 2. She's basically like Yui's weapon, right? Motoha makes Yui just do a lot more damage. She's applying shock, so Yui doesn't have to. You're also increasing your party's electrical damage, and you're increasing electrical damage taken by an enemy. It's just all good. It just makes her way stronger. And Yui is obviously the all-star of this week. The fight is literally designed for her. Not only mechanically is the fight incredibly powerful for her, they also have 3 specific buffs that buff specifically Yui. So it's like you cannot top the leaderboards without Yui. So this is going to be like a more optimal team. Now, one thing I do want to highlight really here, you might be tempted to use this persona because he gives you such good, you know, increased crit damage, increase foes crit damage taken by 16%. Yes, you will make Wonder deal more damage with the increased crit damage because of the way, even though you can't do crits because of the formula, but increasing foes crit damage taken actually does nothing here. So this is not a very powerful persona for this situation. Typically what I would actually recommend is I would put a lightning skill on one of these 3 personas, and just to get the proccing of the lightning for the marks. So I like recommending this guy because he's the best assassin pretty much. You do defense debuffing, and you increase the attack of allies when they hit them, and you could do, you know, it's powerful in general. You could also remove Seize the Day, put a lightning attack on here so you have something you could do to do that. Now, this guy here could be literally anybody. However, I actually do think it's very powerful to inflict burn. Burn, if you go on challenge difficulty, burn does like 15,000 damage on every one of his turns. So that is just a lot of free damage, and it'll speed up the fight a lot. On the lower difficulties, it's not as much, but I still think just applying a burn and like every few turns applying it is pretty powerful. You don't need to do it earlier on necessarily. I would just get all your buffs and stuff up first, and then once you're in like the latter 25% of the fight, then I would just make sure he always has a burn on. That way you're getting a bunch of that free damage. And this is my personally favorite persona, Kushinda. Basically, when she uses a buff, that's mistranslated. Whenever she uses a buff skill, you permanently increase the party's attack up to 3 times. So even if you switch out of her, she will still have that buff for everybody. And she has a really powerful AoE buff. So this will just make Yui do more damage. But you don't want to stay on her, because when Yui uses her highlight, you want to be attacking. So this is something that you are typically not going to stay in, but you're going to get your buffs. And again, this lasts for 3 turns. So once enemy's about to die, you could do this, use Yui's highlight, and then you could switch back to your main damage dealer here, or, you know, do the burn, switch between these two, keep the defense down, keep the burn on, keep the defense down. So that is what I'm recommending for Wonder here. I don't really recommend that dagger just because it makes it harder to survive. So the rest of the characters are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, as far as like cards and builds and stuff, that's more character specific. You don't need to build anything specific for this fight. KO also just does a lot of damage. One, she's really good in the first fight because if you have elemental weaknesses, they greatly increase your damage. But also, she's not particularly good in the second fight this week. Also, because it's Curse, and Curse is not really an elemental affinity. So I would say this is close to the optimal team. In general, I would like Ryuji also, to be honest, but the boss is resistant to physical, so I'm just not so sure about that myself. Now, taking a look at the budget team, it might be weird, but I actually am not even going to go with Lightning here. And this could be a mistake. It could not be a mistake, but if you're trying to do lightning damage, all you have is Mahota, and then you have whatever Wonder can do. And honestly, Wonder's just not a very good damage dealer. I think literally, even without weakness, I think that Saiji here, Florent or whatever, is going to do more damage than you can with Wonder doing electrical damage. So I would call Morgana budget right now. You may not have Morgana. If you don't have Morgana, it becomes a little bit harder of a team, but you want more elements, right? You want more of the same elements. So Morgana's here mostly for being a wind boy. But if you don't have them, yeah, you could use something else, but it becomes rough because you're trying to get lots of the same element, and this game we don't have a lot of characters right now of similar elements. So you got to be kind of make do with what you can. So what we're using here is actually, let's go over our personas first. So again, I do believe the fire is just good, applying burn. Getting permanent attack up is just good. Now we do want wind on our guys so we can do some wind damage because we don't have like a Yui to absolutely destroy everything. So if you're able to get Narcissus, I think that this is going to be pretty good. It does pretty good damage in general. I mean, it's still on Wonder, so it's not crazy. It inflicts Windswept. But what's really important here is after inflicting Windswept, increase main target's damage taken by 17%, and you get more element accuracy yourself. This is good for a couple reasons. Obviously, it just increases the damage they take, but also the add-on is also wind. The fact that we have an incredibly powerful wind assassin is very, very convenient for this fight. Again, like I would consider using Sumi, but the guy is strong versus curse, right? I would consider using fire, but the guy is strong versus fire and curse. So there's like the options here are pretty slim for a powerful budget team, but I think this is going to be our main damage dealer, and he does a pretty good job. So that's all he does. When you play this guy, we'll show you him in combat, but basically your goal is to get 5 stacks, or if you have 0 awareness, then it's 3 stacks of right to strike. And then, so you're going to use this until you get 3 stacks of right to strike. Then you're going to switch to Saber Surge and pretty much Saber Surge for the rest of the combat without thinking about anything else. Also, we haven't leveled him up to 70 yet. We probably could just do that, right? Why isn't he 70? I've been using him in literally all the content. Look at all my level 70s. As my main damage dealer for this fight, I'm going to keep him 60 for now because I don't want to push the numbers. So that's why he's here, damage dealer. Morgana has wind, has healing. They're pretty powerful. If you happen to get sniped, because you just have to survive, as long as it's not Morgana that gets sniped, you are able to revive them. That's always a convenient little thing to have. Not the best damage dealer, but they're okay because they deal wind. They're really good earlier in the fight, but you don't necessarily need Morgana. You could probably bring a buffer or a debuffer. Like honestly, if you have like a built Haruna, that actually I think would be reasonable just to get, you know, a Leon. But I'm using Leon on my second fight as well, so again, it becomes kind of rough. But basically, the wind synergy I think is pretty powerful. Insoi is basically our support. He just helps keep everybody alive. He keeps everybody topped up. He absorbs a lot of hits. He does okay damage, not great damage in this fight, because he's resistant to physical, but he shreds a lot of defense. So it's like he's a debuffer combined with a support, combined with a tank. He's just a fantastic unit. And again, I think KO is probably best here because we're doing a lot of windswept, so it's always up. But if you are pushing challenge mode, there is a situation where if you're going to the hardest difficulty, you actually, like I needed the shields from Puppet here to actually stay alive. So if you're able to survive without Puppet, I recommend it. But if you need Puppet to survive, going to the harder difficulty is probably going to be worth it. So this is my budget team that I was using. I think it looks a little counterintuitive because we're not using the boss's weakness, right? So we're losing a lot of damage from that. But really, I just don't think Mohota does as much damage, even with him supporting. And I don't think Wonder does as much damage either. Even if you get all the buffs, I think he does more damage. He's like actually just kind of a tank. Not a tank, but he's like built, you know, he's like, Rrr. But to be fair, my Mohota is rank 6 as well, and I still feel the same. So let's actually go in. I am at 6% rewards, guys. Let's go. So just for the sake of the video, we're going to play on easy, all right? You saw in my opening that we were on Nightmare difficulty, right? It was Nightmare Challenge. I think it was Nightmare. But the point is, I did a harder difficulty, but it was like a 15-minute fight, and I don't want to talk through the whole fight while doing that. So we're going to go on easy. So this should help us shorten the fight quite a bit. We're on easy here. So this won't play out exactly the same. Like if I was actually going to play on easy, I probably wouldn't bring Soy because I don't need help surviving. But let's just go ahead. Let's see how much damage we do. I hope we don't just like do insane amounts. No, okay, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We do got to hit him with wind 3 times though, so we are going to prioritize that. We might need to go up 1 difficulty in order to get all the procs off. But here, we'll do our best. All right, so we have 1, 2 wind, and then we're gonna do our 3rd wind here. Blustering and peg. No, we'll be fine. He won't die before we get a chance. So summons his boy here. And don't worry, we're not gonna die here. I promise. We'll find out. And because we hit him with wind, it doesn't matter what we kill this guy with, right? As long as we kill this guy, it doesn't matter what. He'll increase all of our wind damage at this point because he has the wind version of himself. I'm sure this fight's like a reference to something, like some sort of lore, but I don't know. Maybe it's not. All right, so we could do the wind. I'm actually going to start buffing my squad's damage, just to kind of give you an example of what I would be doing. And so you can go ahead and wind your boy here. Oops, sorry. Actually, does this do, the follow-up counts as wind, right? Let's just make sure. I haven't done that many follow-ups on him. So the follow-up does count as wind. That's very good. Let's go ahead and just keep doing this. We're trying specifically to not kill him until we can get the second thing. So normally you won't have to worry about it. He will not die before you have a chance. Let's just go ahead and guard here. Let's just keep playing it safe for the sake of showing off some version of the fight. And you are going to do this again as well. And now here we are. We're going to Morgana, use the Missile Whirlwind. He's going to summon his boy here. And then we get to kill him here with Saber Surge. But I mean, look at the damage here. Even though they have low like HP and stuff. Okay, well he died in a couple hits. That doesn't count. All right, so now let's start going all out, right? This lasts for... This is the really important skill here, the Retro Dance number, because it increases damage to foes with elemental ailments 1.5 times. But for how long? Is it 3 turns? I think it is 3 turns. So I believe we could use it now, and it'll last until the end of the fight. At least it'll be close. So let's go ahead and start smash hitting him. We're just trying to get all the defense downs we can because he's fantastic. You can get another one with your gun as well. We could do one more attack buff. I think we're going to do the spike. Increase the amount of wind damage this guy takes. So if you take a look here, right, that's why the Narcissist guy is so good. Damage taken up. I guess it's by all elements. I assumed it was wind, but apparently not. We're just going to save our elements for now. We're going to save our highlight, rather. And then, I mean, this guy is going to just wreck him. This is our main damage dealer. I mean, 23,000 is pretty good. That's actually, I think that's about what he was doing on the harder difficulty also. I actually think we do this. We added one more defense down. I don't think it matters how many of our gunshots we use, but we'll just use them all here, I suppose. But let's go ahead and... I think I only get the one highlight, but it's okay. His highlight is not as powerful as you would think. Like, it's good, but his actual normal attack seems like it just does more. Now, I do want to do the burn. This is actually where I'm trying to think. This is where I would need to min-max it a bit more. We'll burn, and then next turn, we'll do the attack up for the final round. And you just do this. Fantastic healer, but obviously we don't need the healing in this fight. And then we'll Saber Surge. 20k, easy 20k. Almost 30k. It is 30k. Good job. Fantastic. Oh, let's make sure we do this, and we'll keep the defense. I like that he has a head on top of his head, and then he has 2 heads on the side of his head. This guy gets well, he gets it. You know what I was gonna say. All right, let's go ahead and smash. You got to smash that face. This is kind of why I love this team so much. It does do a lot of stuff. So we're gonna do one more. I really want to do this. It's just better. Nah, I think the attack up is better. So we'll do the attack up here. I don't think the attack up stays if you switch out of the character. So I think you need the persona up because I don't think it works in reserve. You know what? What is this? Increase party's damage 25%. This has got to be good. That's probably more damage than what any one of those highlights would do. So let's give him the old smackaroonie. Oh, baby. 35,000. Let's go. All right. And that's the end of that fight. So I hope that gave like a little bit of... Obviously, the score is bad because we're on easy. But I hope that kind of gives a little bit of context of how you do the fight and kind of what you're looking for with the fight. You want assassins, you want the similar elements, and you want to just be able to survive his onslaught of attacks. We obviously didn't have to survive in our version of the fight that much, but because I mean, I'm not lying, this took me like 10-15 minutes to do because it's just a long ass fight when he has that much HP. But yeah, that is basically what I would consider an ideal team, a more budget team, and how I would tackle this fight and how I'm going to tackle this fight when I get the top 1%. Will probably be my non-budget team, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, either way, guys, much love. Perplatypus is Perplautopus. I'll see y'all on the flip-flops. Bye!